Well, what is going on, folks?
Nick, good to see you, man. The day has come.
The day is here. We rushed to get on the air so we could talk to you folks on this glorious Tuesday afternoon, wherever you might be. The Cincinnati Reds have called up Elly De La Cruz. We have Clay Snowden joining us at somewhere along the way. Trace,
Spartan guy. Didn't know he was a Spartan guy.
He's a Spartan
Let's
guy.
go, baby.
Let's.
I literally
go.
have not been this fired up in probably 2 years. I mean, my wedding wasn't even this exciting.
Easy, killer. Easy.
I'm not a very emotional person. You all are about to see some emotion right now.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the only thing that I think would be poetic, and I know you guys think I'm being, this is only a bit, Trace, you're being funny. I think the Reds should start, I think the Reds just one more time should start Kevin Newman and play him at shortstop, lead off tonight. Let Twitter burn to the ground, and then we'll slide in Ellie tomorrow. What do you guys think about that?
Well, first, I'd like to apologize because I didn't realize that we were actually already live. So I may have said a bad word there, but so I apologize to the people in the chat. I had no idea that it was actually going live right then. So sorry about that. Yeah, Kevin Newman's really earned this shot. You're right, Trace. Like, real vet in the clubhouse. And we know how we feel about having leaders in the clubhouse. Newman leading off. Maybe Ellie can pinch hit late in the ninth, right?
Yep, no doubt. No doubt. But to get back on a serious topic, I don't know. I was in the middle of a meeting. Reed just decided he was going to pop in, rightfully so. Said, hey, Ellie De La Cruz just got called up. I said, okay, well, that abrupted that meeting, and here I am. How did you find out? Let's start with that.
Well, me personally, I was just happened to be on Twitter, like it said, 37 seconds ago, Reds tweeted. And I was actually working, so I just stopped working. And I actually had a meeting at 2 o'clock that I pushed back so that I could come and join you all today. It's a new employee started today. I'm supposed to be training them. So I'm just new employee can figure it out, like 2:30 or so, I'll get around to it. But so I saw that and I immediately, like, we all knew it was coming, right? But just like the feeling of seeing it and the feeling of knowing that, like, we no longer, and especially you all, and I listened to the podcast this morning, just like the constant hypotheticals. It's just getting to the point where it's like, can we just see this guy play baseball in a Reds uniform? And we get that now.
I had just gotten back from going out for some real life work. Just walked in. Pro tip: I have Cincinnati Reds notifications turned on, so anytime the Reds tweet, it notifies me. That it helps you stay up to date, especially when you're trying to do a podcast and stuff like this. So I saw that, I was like, oh my god. I was like, I got to get my ducks in order. We got to get live as quick as we can. And here we go. Clay, when did you start following Elly De La Cruz on a daily basis?
It was probably in the first time I ever really heard his name was, when he was in low A. And I just remember seeing, a lot of those clips on Twitter. Trace, I don't know how tuned in you were to like minor league baseball, low A 2020, 2019-ish. They're pretty much like some guy with a camera through a chain link fence. Like, here's Elly, it's shaking and he's like kind of trotting around the bases. And I thought, wow, this kid looks wiry and he's exploding on a baseball. Like, that's pretty cool. And it's funny because Aram at Just Baseball sent me like a DM that me and him had from like way back, like 2 years ago when me and him first started talking about Elly. And I think it's probably around that time. So it wasn't like I was in there when he was 16 years old, hyping him up or anything. But yeah, a guy that I've followed closely and watched a ton of, and, somebody who truly does have that type of talent to change a lot in the organization and not just in the lineup in terms of, oh, he can add 30 home runs to this lineup. But when you have a player of that caliber, if he reaches what we think he can, then in the next 2 or 3 years, that's going to change the way the front office should look at this team and putting players around them. It's not just we got one good player. It's now we have somebody who we can build around and help bring in more talent to support him.
Hey, StreamYard looks really good on these super chats. They just popping right up.
Tell you what, man, that's big time. Sir Boy Wonder, appreciate you as always. I tell you what, save some money so you can get something at the game when you go. I know Sir Boy probably already has a ticket. He's down there usually. If not, I just seen down there at the ticker people in the chat saying that ticket prices at this point are $97. I tried to get on the ticket website literally like 10 minutes ago, and it's crashed. It does not work. I'm not even kidding when I say that. I keep refreshing it. It won't work. So at this point, I'm trying to get into the Thursday game because I'm not being greedy here. I'm like, okay, Tuesday, probably not going to work. Wednesday, doesn't really work. Thursday, I'll probably get some decent ticket prices at day game. Sites just crashed. So shout out to Elly. First thing he does as a Cincinnati Reds is crash the servers down there at Great American Ballpark, hopefully for our sake. But there's a couple things I want to talk about. Certainly the excitement is awesome. One thing is that at last, I think we do get clarity on what the Reds probably are going to tip their hand on, what they're going to do when it comes time to calling up Elly. So now we get to find out what they're going to do with India. Maybe not full-fledged into the future, figure it out, but there's going to be tea leaves. There's already been, in my opinion, Clay and Nick, you guys can shine a light on this a little bit. They've already kind of been hinting at the fact of doing some certain things, in my opinion, and they did it through none other than Kevin Newman. I think they started using Kevin Newman at second base a little bit. I know you think it's a bit. I'm being dead serious.
I love it.
They started using Kevin Newman as this placeholder for McLean. And that's McLain for the chat and for many of Reds fans. So the biggest thing is that now we do get to find out what exactly they do. Nick and Clay, the question was asked before I jumped on here. There's no chance that he plays third base when he comes up, when he's in the starting lineup, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow.
I wouldn't say no chance, just because he has played a lot of third base at AAA. I said last night I think he should be playing shortstop. I'm kind of like 50-50 on whether they're going to use him as almost an exclusive shortstop or if they're going to use him as a 50% third base, 50% shortstop. I feel very confident that he's not going to be an everyday third baseman. I don't know if that kind of answers what you were saying. I do. Before we move on, though, I got to say my emotional piece about this call up, because I didn't get a chance, man.
Please do, Nick.
Oh, yeah.
I got to, Clay was the first person to hype up Elly to me. And I was never a big prospect guy, but Elly turned me into a prospect guy. And there's a lot of other people that follow the Reds prospects so much closer than I do. But I mean, I started at the end of 2021 following what this guy did every single day. I mean, I watched winter ball games in a different language that I didn't even know what they were saying about this guy, and been following him literally every day that there's been a baseball game, even into the winter for, almost 2 years to this point. And so, man, this is awesome. This is the first prospect really that I've ever followed that closely for this long. So that's why, to me, this is so special. But Clay, go ahead.
Yeah, so about Elly at third or whatnot. See, I wrote a piece last week, and I feel like it's already outdated because I thought, not my opinion, but predictively speaking, I thought that they would put him at third base because that's where he has been playing and kind of do the Gunnar Henderson thing. You're the shortstop of the future, but for the time being, to make it easier this year, you will play third base. You'll play some shortstop. That way they wouldn't have to move India around, move Matt McLain around. It's just less moving parts, and it made sense to me at that time. But then you see all the stuff with India yesterday, and you see Matt McLain playing second last night. It's just I don't really know what's going to happen. And, I understand why that's important to discuss, but we could also just figure that out very soon by watching the game to see what actually happens. But if it were up to me, I would put him at third base until they either trade India or until next year. I do think he is the shortstop of the future, and I think he'll play a lot of both this season. But I would start him at third base, if I was making the lineup for tonight.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think it's fair. Regardless, I'm not going to complain. It's not the fact that he's up in a Reds uniform. If he plays third base, I'm not going to go crazy off the deep end and think that it's a huge, terrible move. Regardless, I am trying to buy from the Red site. I got all these people in the chat just hammering me, telling me what to do. I'm trying. It's not working. I mean,
Trace,
technologically,
do you know what's sad? You come on here every single night, you and Nick, and do this for the fans, and no one in this chat can get you a ticket for you. I mean, that's pathetic. Somebody buy Trace a ticket, and I will Venmo them up to $3 for the ticket.
Now, listen. Before you start a movement, the chat last night was on their game. We got plenty of super chats to help us out to buy some tickets. It was very nice of them. I'm very appreciative. Tonight, my son has a baseball game that starts, I believe, at 6 o'clock. So, I know, hey, when you have kids, you realize that sometimes there are things that are very important, but then, making sure that you're there for that is probably a little bit more important. So I will be watching on my phone for Elly's probably first at bat in the Major League uniform. But
who has more hits tonight, your son or Elly?
Without question, Elly. My son's 10. He's facing 12-year-olds. He's completely outmatched. I love him to death, but I'm also a realist. As you know, toxic Trace. My son will be lucky to put the ball in play. So I'd like to think that Elly will get off to a better start than Cam, but that's here nor there. So in regards to some other thoughts, Nick, I know not to make you more sentimental, but the first time we talked about doing this show, I was on the phone with you. This shows you how big of a nerd Nick is, Clay. And maybe you're the same way, so no offense taken here. But it was like 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. And I'm talking to him, and he's over here watching the Dominican League, I believe. And who and behold is he watching? He's watching Elly, and oh, by the way, he was watching. I will never forget. He was watching Aquino still. High hopes. High hopes. He was hoping that Aquino was going to turn it around, but boy, didn't turn around.
They have therapy for things like Nick's addiction to Aquino. There's therapy for it, man. Seek it out. It's good for you.
Yeah. Had to bring up Aquino on this day. Had to bring up Aquino.
Yeah. Hey, did they announce what number he was wearing?
44.
44?
Yeah.
I figured that was the case, but for whatever reason, I was kind of like wanting to see him in a 0 or like I don't know why. I just thought.
Maxwell asks in the chat, what jersey should I buy? I was going to buy India, but now I might wait for Elly. Let me tell you something, Maxwell. If you wanted a good investment, yeah, you need to go probably the 44 route. I'm not saying you shouldn't get India if you really love them, but there's also a chance that you go down to the ballpark and India's playing for a different team and you're wearing his jersey. So I'm not suggesting that I want that. Again, we're not doing that on the show. I promise we're not doing that on the show. Corey's coming in with the super chat again with the Ellie De La Cruz, sending good vibes. Overall, what a fun day for us Reds fans, though. Like what a nice, pleasant surprise. We knew it was coming, guys. I don't know if we all really had an idea on exactly when, but you know who did know. And a year from now, I'm going to ask him. You know who knew before all this came out? I think. Got to guess.
Charlie Goldsmith.
Charlie knew.
Yeah, I said this yesterday. I was like, he knows something. I saw that Fox 19. I was like, I see that there's something there.
Charlie knew, man. I don't know who told Charlie, but Charlie knew. He was on Thom's show this morning, and he said something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he said it so confidently. It was like, this dude knows. Charlie knew. But anyway, I digress.
I'm not sure. I was trying to think about it. Like, I don't know if I've been this excited for a debut like in my adult life. Like, I remember going back and like recording on VHS the Homer Bailey first start, which like I still had a VHS player. I know that was kind of like near the end of that. And I remember like as a kid watching Jay Bruce. Now, kid is a loose term there, but the Jay Bruce debut. But I mean, do any other players come to mind for like super, super hype? I mean, Joey Votto was up there to an extent, and I don't really think so. I mean, Sal Romano, maybe. I don't know, Nick. Sal Romano, dude, for you.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Votto wasn't even close because he wasn't like ranked that high of a prospect. What Joey Votto did compared to where his prospect ranking was is just incredible. I was actually I've told this story many times, so I apologize to those who have heard it. But what else we're going to talk about other than just he's here? I
What
went
was
to.
that?
I don't know. I'm excited. Anyway, so I went to Jay Bruce's debut, and I was not nearly anywhere close to like the Reds fan that I am now. Back then, I as a kid I was a huge Reds fan growing up, but when the Reds moved to cable, my parents didn't have cable, so it was really hard for me to keep up. Um, and then I went away to college in Virginia, and a couple of my like best friends were huge Atlanta Braves fans, and they kind of really got me just wanting to be excited about baseball. And so first thing when I came back from the school year was I wanted to go to a Reds game. That was like the most important. Like I was like first day I can possibly, and it just happened to be Jay Bruce's debut. I had no idea who he was. But like the parking lot attendants, like, "Are you here to see Bruce tonight?" I was like, "Sure." And obviously that night and that debut was incredible. And in all seriousness, I mean, I think there's going to be people like me that Ellie De La Cruz like is going to make them stick as a Reds fan, just like Jay Bruce did. And I think Ellie's on a whole nother planet in terms of his ceiling. And not to say Jay Bruce didn't have a great career, because he did have a great career, but that's the coolest part of this is there's going to be new Reds fans. There's going to be kids that this is the reason they're a Reds fan is Elly De La Cruz, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and
He
to me, it was
definitely
one of
has
those.
the.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say he definitely has like in my generation. I'm assuming I'm close enough in age to the two of you. He definitely has the ability. Now, again, I want to be hesitant in trying to set expectations here because at the end of the day, he's not done anything in a Reds uniform. Let's not forget that. I think we all can agree that hey, it is a little bit of a jump. There are things that are different at a major league level than you'd ever even imagine at a minor league level. However, he's doing things that are so incredible that have never been done before that it's hard to imagine him not to be able to translate that. But he does put off the vibes of like King Griffey Jr., Seattle Mariners vibes for my generation. Like everybody went in the backyard. They wanted to try to hit like Griffey. They wore their hat backwards. He was just cool. For lack of a better term, King Griffey Jr. was cool. Elly De La Cruz has that same vibe, even maybe to a higher extent. Like Elly might even be even a one step way ahead of King Griffey Jr. on the quote unquote cool factor.
Yeah, it's Tatis, right? When Fernando Tatis was called up, shortstop, has that swagger, kind of that he can do anything on a ball field, and he's going to let you know it too. He's got that swagger to him. And I feel like everybody was kind of attracted to Tatis in a certain way. Like you wanted to watch it because he was an entertainment factor. It wasn't just he was good at baseball. I, did not see the same thing towards like Mike Trout, like not as exciting of a player, but a really good baseball player. Tatis, I mean, you see kids in Kentucky walking around with Tatis jerseys on.
Yeah, my
That
son
doesn't
has
make
one.
any sense, right? Like it's gonna be crazy to see, potentially see Elly jerseys in Seattle, Washington, or Maine. Like it's gonna be weird, but I'm all here for it. And typically I do kind of come with a level-headed, analytical, kind of balanced mind, but I think my fandom's taken over for today.
Yeah. This is all fandom. There's no rational on a day like Elly De La Cruz comes up. It is fan away. Let's roll.
I'm looking something up right now so I don't mess this up. But yeah, I have it right. The fact that the Reds signed this guy for $65,000. In his story in and of itself, if you've not seen it, there are multiple stories out there. But I think I read a story through The Athletic. Seems like we pub that site more often than not on this Chatterbox platform. But just the fact that the whole thing went down, the Reds did not go down there to look for Elly De La Cruz. If you don't know the story, he was not the guy that they were wanting to go look for when they went to the DR or they went to the camp or whatever it was that they were looking for. He just was a throw-in to participate in said workouts because they needed a kind of a second or third body to make sure that the guy that they were working out had a little bit of time to rest through the workouts. Then they seen Elly and they were like, "Who's this guy?" And we're interested. And they took a flyer on him, $65,000. And the next thing you know, that was in 2018, guys. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't that long ago. This guy has flown through the system, and now he's got a chance to maybe take this franchise to a place that's not been in quite some time. And the beautiful thing is, at least on my end, is when was the last time, and I don't know if it's ever happened in my life, where there's been an everyday infielder at a premium position, second base and or shortstop, that you felt like could be one of the best players in baseball that plays for your team. I'm not even kidding when I say this, guys. When Tatis, I went down to Great American Ballpark 3 years ago or something like that, and I watched Tatis play. I genuinely sat in my seat that night and I thought, why can't the Reds, excuse my French, if you got kids watching, tell them to close their ears. I genuinely said, in my own brain, I said, why in the fuck can't the Reds just get lucky and get one of these guys? I just want one of these guys. And the fact that we freaking might have that guy is a miracle.
And you say the word lucky, and you're right. O'Neal Cruz, the Pirates, a similar type of, athlete. I think Elly's better, but he was thrown over in a trade at the deadline for a relief pitcher. Like a guy the Dodgers didn't even hold on, just a throw-in piece. That's lucky. Tatis was kind of a traded over piece from the White Sox. Like sometimes it is just lucky. And when you look at the international free agent classes, go back 2012 all the way through this year, you'll know between 2 to 5 names on each top 20 list. It is really a crapshoot. And throwing your money towards $65,000 players like Elly and, kind of spreading that money out instead of spending the $5 million on the, pitcher that never makes it to AA, like it's it's just a strategy that sometimes works better than others. So yeah, but the Reds, you can say they got lucky, and they did for sure, but we're not giving enough credit to just the development around him as well. Like it's not just that he came up and is just a freak and that's it. Like there's coaching involved in this. There's stuff that they have helped him work on as well. Like the Reds need to get some credit as well for that.
If I don't say this right now, I'm going to get in trouble. Please like the stream if you haven't. That always helps us. So very much appreciative of that. We have like a ridiculous, I think it's 180 people watching right now. If you could just like the stream, that would be very much appreciated. That just helps us grow. And as we say every night, usually the more likes that we get. I know, Clay, you've been on the show before. We've come accustomed to knowing something that's very scientific. It's actually been proven, Clay. The more likes we get, the more the Reds actually win, and it's actually been proven time and time again. If you go back and you look at our streams, the more likes we receive on any given show, it's without question it goes hand in hand. In fact, it's like this. It's very much to if you are a faithful person, it's very much like the gospel.
I like it from 2 different YouTube accounts, so I'm doing double the work.
Oh my God.
Yeah. That's how much I want the Reds to win.
All right, let's live reactions because I don't think either one of us saw it. Any of us saw it.
He can run, he can hit, he can throw, he can do it all. Fight to a start.
Ellie De La Cruz.
Or Elly De La Cruz.
My name is Elly De La Cruz.
For fans who haven't seen you, how would you describe the way you play?
Electric.
Oh my goodness, does this man electrify this baseball field? That's off the mat in the bottom of the ninth. They win it 5-4.
Get ready, Cincinnati. A future superstar is coming your way.
Yeah, I had not seen that. Fire me up, man.
Reg just tweeted that. If there's any other tweets, we'll throw it out as as we're just going along here. I don't know. Are we going to be on till the debut, or how what are we doing?
I don't know. Is there anything? I was going to say, is there a couple quick housekeeping items? We will be going live at the end of this game. Clay, if you want to come on tonight, you're more than welcome. The fact that you're pushing back new people that are working at your business, you've earned every right to have the ability to come on later tonight. If you'd like, it's an open invitation. Doesn't mean you have to. But please, if you're watching this show right now, feel free to come back later tonight. We can have fun discussing how great it went or how it didn't go at all, and or how it didn't go well. Regardless, we'll have a fun talking about it. But I think the main point is that we are all finally appreciative that we're tired of speculating. It just took Nick Kirby. You know what it took, Clay? It took Nick Kirby finally admitting, me begging him, show after show after show, begging him that there was nothing left for these guys to prove at AAA. He did it for McLean.
2 days later.
What happens? 2 days later, it comes up. Yeah. He did it the other night, finally, for Elly. Finally. And he's coming up. Now, what we need to do, Clay, tonight, just to keep this in the back of your mind, we got to start figuring out a way to get him to where he thinks Christian Encarnacion Strand is ready to go.
Oh, I can do that easy.
You guys better be nice to me. You better like the stream because I hold in my hands the keys to Christian Encarnacion Strand coming up or not. So be nice, be kind. Oh man. Gosh, I'm excited. Yeah, thank God my son's T-ball game's at 5:30. When you said that, I was like, oh, please don't be a 6:30 game tonight. 5:30.
I was supposed to play.
We will be hustling home.
I was supposed to play tennis tonight with a group of 3 other people, and I just told them, I was like, sorry, can we do a different day? Something changed. I was really brief about it, and they were like, I mean, I guess, last minute cancellation. Nobody likes that guy. But then I immediately text my wife, hey, by the way, I'm gonna smoke a cigar and watch the Reds game tonight. Outside, just gonna be out there doing my thing. So just wanted to let you know that I won't be inside doing the whole husband thing.
Yeah, well, I can't wait for Elly to piss off all the boomers because that's coming no matter what. This guy could have a Hall of Fame career, and there's gonna be some people that just don't like this guy because he's got swag. He's doing the gritty on the way down the third baseline when he hits a walk-off. This guy's got flair, and you know what? I hope he doesn't change a damn thing. I hope he stays who he is, and he's here to stay because, as Nick said before, I don't think for a single second that this guy is gonna get called back down because he brings too much to the table. So,
yeah, I mean, I think even if he doesn't hit well right away, I just think he does so many things that's gonna keep him up. That once he's up, he's gonna be the hardest player in baseball to send back down. But I don't know. You never know how these guys will respond instantly to big league pitching. It's hard to see many players prepared better than Elly De La Cruz. Ultimately, time will tell. We have to see, we have to find out, but he's as prepared and as ready to take baseball by storm as any player that's ever going to come up.
And I think what you said is important there is he's proven it at AAA for long enough that he deserves a chance. Even if he does struggle, I would rather have him learning major league pitching this season from June on. That's a large sample that he'll have so that heading into 2024, he has more confidence. He doesn't have all offseason thinking, man, I think I can hit major league pitching, but I don't, he's going to be able to go through and get that first, strikeout, first hit, all that stuff, all the pressure taken off to an extent. I mean, he's number one prospect who will always have pressure, but I'm glad that he's getting the kind of the growing pains out of the way in this season as opposed to next season. And there's a lot of season left for him to do so.
Good question here about why Elly wasn't called up before the Brewers season. And look, I think that's a fair question. One thing to point out is the Reds have done the exact same thing with Matt McLain as they've done with Elly De La Cruz. In minor league baseball, your week goes Tuesday through Sunday. You play a 6-game series either at home or on the road. They waited until that was done. He got an off day that's normally billed in on Monday. They called him up on Tuesday. Exact same process as Matt McLain, although Matt McLain, I think, was called up on a Monday. But nonetheless, they let him finish a whole series. So, I don't know. That just might be part of their mindset of letting this guy finish a series here and then bringing him up. So, I guess that might have something to do with it. And then Louisville was at home, right, Clay? And then they're going to Columbus. I was actually thinking about going out to Columbus. That trip's off the books now. That's for sure.
Are you sure? Nick Martini's still playing for the Bats, and
I think they play.
Chucky Robinson's your guy, right?
I think they play the same time as the Reds pretty much all week. So I think I'll be watching Mr. Elly De La Cruz.
T's and P's. We need to be thoughtful on this show. We need to be thoughtful. Thoughts and prayers to the Louisville Bats admin on the Twitter account. They took a big hit today. They had been for a while the toast of the town. They had gotten a lot of attention. There was people that were always in their mentions, and that is going to take a pretty big nosedive. I hope they're ready for that. I hope they weren't trying to sell any sponsorships for their Twitter activations or anything along those lines, because otherwise those talks are going to probably be out the window. So T's and P's to the admin of the Louisville Bats Twitter account. The other last thing I want to bring up, and something that probably no one ever thinks of. How wild is it that Stowe, I don't know if it's Rick, I don't know the Stowe's well enough down there to know if it's Rick, or I think his son's name is a different name or whatever it was, but Elly was just handed or given the number 44 in spring training one year because they just needed to just give him a jersey and number, and he's just stuck with it. Is it ever wild to think that if you're like the clubhouse manager or whatever, that you just give away numbers, like you just give away Hall of Fame numbers possibly? Like if you come back to Great American Ballpark, and now I'm taking this way off the reservation, but it's just hypothetically.
No, I like it.
But like in 20 years, is it crazy to think that if you're Stowe, you're like, number 44. I just legitimately randomly grabbed that number for this guy and gave it to him in a spring training situation. And that's what he stuck with. And that number is now retired.
You know, I kind of think about that each year when you see like Stephen Kwan wearing 67. And you're like, what is that, man? And it's just like, you know, there's stories. Oh, I got this in spring training because I didn't think I'd make the team, made the team, keeping it, yada, yada. Like back in their head, they got to be thinking like, are we going to run out of those numbers? Like, what if we have a team full of 71s and 82s, and next thing you know, we're like handing out number 9 or 13 or whatever like attractive number it may be to the guys who don't make the team. Maxwell got tickets tonight.
Good for Maxwell.
You guys want to hear Chris Welsh's thoughts on Elly De La Cruz?
Yeah, why not?
Being around the team this spring, who are some of the guys that aren't going to be on the opening day roster? Some of the Reds' top prospects. Who's really stood out to you?
Well, I will tell you that as far as I'm concerned, Elly De La Cruz was the best player in Reds uniform this spring. Now, I've heard that he's not ready. I can see that from a service time issue, if we really want to be frank about it. But, I mean, no one really can tell me whether Elly De La Cruz is going to be the next Bryce Harper, who's in the big leagues at age 19, or the Ken Griffey Jr. I mean, this kid has incredible talent. I mean, in every part of the game. He runs. He's the fastest guy in camp. He's got about the best arm. He hits the ball harder than anybody else. Yeah, he is an inexperienced player, but I think that whatever extra experience they get him in the minor leagues this year is going to serve him well, and I just can't wait to see him in the big leagues. There are a number of other players, too, that are good, but I think he's the one that for me, just stands out head and shoulders above everybody else. Even Christian Encarnacion Strand, who had a great spring. I mean, the guy looks like a beast at the plate, but I think overall, if I'm going to pick a future superstar, I'm going with De La Cruz.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Chris. Elly De La Cruz, most exciting Reds prospect since?
I can't remember when they've had an exciting prospect like Elly De La Cruz. Maybe Eric Davis. I kind of put him in that same category. Barry Larkin was very polished by the time I saw him playing, and now he and I were teammates in AAA. He was already, light years beyond everybody else on that ball club. But I would say that Eric Davis is probably the guy that comes to mind. I mean, that way you go right, you blow right on past guys like Jay Bruce, Adam Dunn. It had been a long time since the Reds has brought up, a really impact kind of player, everyday player out of the minor leagues. So I'm probably missing somebody that's very obvious, but I think that's the way I look at it anyway.
Well, high praise. That I love it. Fire me up.
All right, that was Chris Welsh back in spring training. That was before he put up all these ridiculous numbers too. Chris was on top of it. You guys want to see the call-up video?
Yeah, let's just.
Have all your stuff with you? To bring your video games? You know whose bag those are? You know whose bag that is? Whose bag is it?
The tag says Elly De La Cruz.
Your bags are here. You gotta go to Cincinnati.
How good is that?
Yeah, we need to win some baseball games. I mean, now. This is
Honeymoon's over. Honeymoon's over.
Listen, I love those type of videos. That one was a little uncomfortable for some reason.
Yeah,
I don't know why. That made me a little stiff, just like, I don't know if I like that.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. And I got to remind everybody that there's a lot of other guys that are going to contribute to this organization as well, more than likely, based off of how good they are. It's not just Elly. It's you've seen Abbott the other night. You've seen McLean. CES is still there. You like to think Marte's coming through the ranks. There's always going to be the chance that the Reds get a flyer on some guy at a deadline, or somebody they sign one of these overseas talents. The next thing you know, they might pan out. You'd like to think that maybe the Reds, and I've said luck. I think luck plays a bigger part in baseball than many people want to give credit for. That's just the damn truth. I mean, we can sit here and act like you might have the best scouts. You might have people that can identify talent at 18 years old better than others. But more times than not, in my opinion, it's a matter of getting fortunate and lucky, guys staying healthy or not. And I'm excited for the Reds. And I think that, as I said the other night, Nick, and Clay may have heard this before too, if they move Jonathan India, and it's not that I have anything against him, but I think that's a very, very stark difference than what they've always done in the past. And it means to me that they've already shown that they're doing things differently. But that, in my mind, is the one thing that would tell me they don't care about feelings anymore. They're strictly about trying to do what's best for the organization. They're not going to play the fan. They're not going to play to what the fans' hearts might want or might not want. That doesn't matter. They're Tampa Bay Rays styling it, and they're going to do what's best, what they think is that can win on the field, and hopefully wins start coming soon.
Yeah, and I mean, I hear what you're saying, because you're saying that from like in a competitive / building the right way, but I think they've even shown that when they moved Jesse Winker out before his deal was up, and they, did not bring Nick Castellanos back. That was the one that really showed me, like, fans wanted that so badly. And they could have thrown money at him if they wanted to, but I'm glad that they didn't, just like with how the construction of the roster is working there. So I think that they've shown glimpses of it, but I know what you're saying. Like, this is like a different level of that, because this is we're looking like we're going to be good in the next couple of years, but we're still willing to make that move. Yeah, it will really show something.
All right, let's predict the lineup. Let's predict not the whole lineup, but let's do I think Elliott's short, McLean at second.
Are you going? Are we? Let's do it like this. We'll do the leadoff hitter in the position, and we'll all go right down the line, and we'll go to the second.
Okay.
We'll go to the second guy.
We'll
let you start it off, Nick. It's your segment. Who's batting leadoff, playing what position?
Okay, so batting leadoff, Reds are facing a right-handed pitcher again tonight. I think Jonathan India is batting leadoff at DH.
I think Jonathan India is batting leadoff at DH.
Yeah, I like that.
Matt McLean's second at shortstop. I think that's probably the most obvious, or second at second base. But I think batting second is an obvious.
Yeah, Matt McLean's batting second, playing second base.
Okay.
Clay, wait. Clay, are you signing off on that for sure?
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not like headstrong about either way. Like, I'm like, okay, sure. Like, Elly's in the lineup is all I care. I don't really care where he plays, third or short. I'm fine with it.
All right.
I think Elly's batting third, playing shortstop.
I don't think Elly's batting third.
You think
what's that?
Who are you going with?
I'm gonna go with Fraley.
Okay. And Fraley and India could also be swapped if you're going with that route. Because Fraley has batted leadoff last couple nights. But who are you? Who's batting third, Clay?
I was going to say Fraley as well. Or I assume we're just talking about tonight, right?
Just for tonight. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I would go Fraley then. Yeah.
All right. So batting fourth, I had Elly. So I'm going to say Steer is batting fourth, playing first base.
Yeah, I had Fraley. I think Steer is playing first base, batting fourth.
Yep. Steer as well. But then Elly for me.
So you guys both have Elly at shortstop, batting fifth.
Yes. Sorry. Golly, I had to count.
And I have Tyler Stevenson batting fifth. Or no. I have Jake Fraley. I have Jake Fraley batting fifth because I'm running out of.
I think catching is going to be Stevenson, and I think he's going to hit fifth.
Okay, we're going all the way down here.
Yeah.
All right, so sixth I have Stevenson catching.
All right, I have Elly then after Stevenson playing shortstop.
So you have Elly batting sixth.
I have Elly batting sixth. My thought on that is I think it takes a little bit of pressure off of him. Again, maybe I've listened to you too much, Nick. I'm trying to look out for this guy's feelings. I don't want him to feel like he just got up here and he's getting thrown into the 3-hole. What was really quickly? McLean was batting 2-hole though, right off the rip. So I don't know. I don't know.
Jay Bruce batted leadoff in his debut.
Yeah, hell, they might bat him leadoff. One time I saw an electric.
I think I love that. I don't think it'll happen, but I do love that idea.
Yeah,
you could
just first bat.
I don't. That would be absolutely insane to hear the ballpark when he comes up as the first batter for the Reds batting leadoff. That would be awesome. Even if they just did it for one game, like they just wanted that reaction.
I hope he's batting third just so there's not the possibility of him not batting in the first inning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, outside of that, I don't think anybody cares. We got Stuart Fairchild out there.
Will Benson. This is going to be the night Will Benson hits 3 home runs. Just to really, I don't know.
Is Will Myers ever coming back?
Who?
Forgot about that guy.
He got his 10 years of service time, by the way. A good shout out to the Reds. Congratulations.
I think last I saw on him was like late June. So
okay.
I don't know.
All right, guys. We'll do this again a little bit later after the Reds play. Hopefully, Elly gets off to a great start. Thank you for jumping on here so fastly. Nick for setting it up. Clay for being so kind to jump on here. You told your boy that you're going to be ready to run around 2:30. I want to give you – we all want to make sure that you have plenty of time to digest what you've actually just talked about and also what you're going to see on social media for the next 10 to 15 minutes right before you get into that meeting at 2:30. I'm going to try like hell to get tickets, I think, for probably Thursday and go then because that's what makes the most sense in my life. But kudos and best of luck to everybody going down there tonight. I hope that it's packed. I hope it's sold out. I think it sends a good message. And it's going to be fun watching regardless of what happens. We got something to talk about for the next at least 3 or 4 months for sure as Reds fans. So.
Yeah, happy day. As always, like the stream on YouTube, subscribe to Chatterbox Sports, hit the bell, turn on notifications so you know whenever we go live right after the game ends. We usually try to go live in the top or bottom of the ninth, depending on where the game's at. So make sure you have that notifications turned on so that way you'll know you can join us, have some fun along the way. And then, of course, Chatterbox Reds in podcast form everywhere you get podcasts. I'm going to try real quick to upload this into the podcast feed so people driving home can have something, I don't know, maybe to listen to. It's not going to be the best, but hey.
Emergency pod.
I will label it emergency, but we will see you tonight. Can't wait. Go Reds.
Hey, also, one more thing. We just hit 100 likes on the stream live for real. So shout out to the people. Thank you.
Thanks, Clay.
Appreciate y'all.